Welcome back to Get Your Play Online. My name is Sarah, and today we are constructing giant town maps. So this is a little bit far away, so I'm going to give you a close-up view of what we're going to be making today. This is just a tiny version of it because we're actually going to make a really big version, so it will be more fun. But let me show you up close again. This is kind of what it's going to look like. So you can use your imagination and create a town however you want it to look. You can think of whatever stuff you would want to put in your perfect town. So whatever stuff you would want. So for my town, here you can see I have a park and a hospital and a beach. So this week on Get Your Play Online, it is Community Helpers and Superheroes Week. So we're also going to be thinking about our community helpers as we make our town maps today, because we should include our community helpers in our town maps because they're really important to help our communities. So we're going to make our town maps. You can see this is just a mini version of my town map. But you can see that I have duct tape roads, and then I have all of the different buildings and things in my town drawn around it. So this is just an example for you to see how your town map might turn out when you're all done. Let me show you the supplies that you'll need for today so you can go and grab them. So first, you will need a big, giant piece of paper because, again, this is just a mini version. This example is smaller than what we're actually going to make. So you're going to need a really big piece of paper to make your town map today. So I have a roll of paper that I'm going to use to make my town map. So you can use a roll of paper for yours. I have mine. I'm going to make my town map at my kitchen table. So I'm going to spread this out and put my paper all over my kitchen table because I'm going to make my town map really big. So I'm going to use a roll of paper. You can also, if you have just a big piece of paper, you can use that. And if you have a bunch of smaller pieces of paper, like this size, that's okay too. You can tape them together to make a big piece of paper, and I'll show you how to do that. So yeah, first thing you'll need is a big piece of paper. I'll show you how to tape them together if you only have smaller pieces of paper. So big piece of paper is the first thing. The next thing you'll need is a pair of scissors. If you're not allowed to use scissors by yourself, make sure you ask a grown-up to help you. Next thing you'll need are some washable markers. Make sure that they're washable because we don't want to get marker on our clothes or the table or the floor or anything like that. That's really important with today's activity. The next thing you'll need are crayons or colored pencils if you want them just to add some more detail into your town. So that is up to you. Also, this is important, you'll need some duct tape. Doesn't matter what color. I like to use gray duct tape because it looks like real roads. But you'll need some duct tape to make your roads for your town. So some duct tape, and then some matchbox cars to drive around on your town roads. So I just have a bunch of matchbox cars. So you can grab those. And then if you're allowed to use Sharpies, you can use a Sharpie because we'll be using those to draw the lines on our roads. So a Sharpie, and then a ruler. If you want to do that to make your buildings straight in your town, you can use a ruler. If you don't worry too much about straight lines, then don't worry about a ruler. So let me tell you one more time and you can go grab your supplies. You need a big piece of paper, you need scissors, you need washable markers, you need crayons or colored pencils, you need duct tape, you need matchbox cars, you need a Sharpie if you're allowed to use it, and you need a ruler. All right, so I'll give you a minute to go grab your supplies. While you're grabbing your supplies, I'm gonna start getting ready for our activity. So I'll move these out of the way. And I want you to be thinking about what things you want to put in your town. Because remember, you can use your imagination and your creativity to think of what would you want in your perfect town. Would you want a movie theater or a beach? I put that in my town. Or a school. You should probably have a school so the kids have somewhere to go to learn. Or maybe a hospital. Yeah, think of what you want to put in your town because you can get creative and make your own choices about what you want to put in your town. Alright, so I think our friends should be coming back soon from getting all of their supplies and getting all the things they'll need for our activity today. So I'm going to start showing you how to get your giant paper ready to make your town on it. So I am using this big roll of paper. So I'm going to show you how to do it if you're using a big roll of paper. So I just rolled it out on my kitchen table. I want you to be very careful about where you do this activity because you don't want to do it on carpet because your marker could poke through and then draw on your carpet and that would make a stain and I don't think your parents would like that very much. So ask your parents where would be the best place for you to do this. You want to do it on a hard place like a kitchen table or a floor or maybe outside on your porch because we're going to be drawing, so we want it to be a hard surface to be able to draw on. But you want to be very careful during this activity to only have your marker on top of your paper because we do not want to get marker on the floor or table or any furniture, okay? So we'll be very careful, but I know we can do it. Alrighty, so I rolled my paper out. And I'm gonna cut it now. Again, if you're not allowed to use scissors, make sure you ask a grown-up to help you. So if you're just hopping on, we are making town maps of our perfect towns today. And first thing you're going to need is a big piece of paper. So if you don't have a big piece of paper, this is a great size for a big piece of paper like this. This will be a perfect size. If you don't have a big piece of paper, you can just use a bunch of tiny pieces like this, and we're going to tape them together to make a big piece. I am using a roll of paper, so you can see this looks really big. And that's just the way we want it. Alrighty, so I did this. I am actually going to do another roll for down here and tape them together. These are going to be giant maps, which makes them super fun. So if you have a big roll of paper like me, you just roll it out like I'm doing, and then you cut, and we're going to spread it out. And you can see I put them together to make one even bigger piece of paper, and now I'm going to tape them together. So I'm going to use my duct tape to tape them together. Here's the thing with duct tape. It can be a little bit tricky, but that's okay. Because it's really sticky. Uh-oh, I think it's stuck to my paper. That's alright. It can be a little bit sticky. Yeah, I think it's stuck to my paper. That's okay. I'll cut it off. It can be sticky and it can be hard to cut. So, if you are getting frustrated with your duct tape, I would suggest asking a grown-up for some help. Alright. You can see I accidentally put duct tape down on here and it's not coming up. So, that is okay, but I'm just showing you. It is very, very sticky. Alright. So, I am actually just going to rip my duct tape. You can try, some duct tapes are different from each other, so here's what I want you to do. Get a piece of duct tape just as a test, so you know how to do it, okay? Get a piece of duct tape like this size, and see if it's easier for you to rip your duct tape or for you to cut your duct tape, because some duct tapes are different. So do a little test and see which one is easier, so that you'll know for the rest of our activity, so you'll know which one is easier. For me, ripping it off is easier, but your scissors might work better for you. That is up to you. So do a little test, see if it's easier to rip or to cut your duct tape. I am taping my two pieces of paper together to make one giant piece of paper. I think for a lot of us, ripping is going to be easier than cutting. But if you want to try to cut your duct tape, go for it. That is okay. So I'm just putting pieces of tape every little bit. I don't have to, if you want to put one giant piece of tape, that's okay, but I'm just putting mine spaced out to connect my two pieces of paper to make one giant piece of paper to draw my town map on. So if you have a bunch of tiny pieces of paper, this is how you're going to connect them. You're going to tape them together just like this. And we're just going to ignore this piece of tape that got stuck here, but it is okay because we're not even going to look at this side. We're going to flip it over in a little bit. Alrighty, so thanks for your patience as we got our piece of paper ready. I know some of you have different kinds of paper, so I wanted to help you all get your paper ready, no matter what kind of paper you have. So if you have big rolls of paper, I showed you how to do it like this. If you have little pieces of paper, we know that we're going to spread them out, and then we're going to tape them together. And if you already had a big piece of paper, you're a step ahead of us, and you're ready to go. All right. So now that we have taped our paper together, we're going to do a big flip and flip it over. And so now we have a blank side where we can create our town map. Are you excited? I'm excited. Alrighty, so we're ready to do it. Okay. Alrighty. So, before we create our town map, let's do a little bit of brainstorming. And we're going to think of the things that we want to put in our town, okay? So I'm going to create a list. So I want you to be thinking along with me, and reaching for my markers. If you have an idea of what I should add to my town, tell me in the comments, and if I see your comment, I can add it into my town too. So I'm going to create a list of the things I'm putting in my town. So remember, our theme for this week is community helpers. So first I'm going to think of what community helpers I need to have in my town, because community helpers help to keep us safe, and if there's an emergency, they can help us feel better or help us take us out of danger or stuff like that. So I want to make sure I have community helpers in my town. So first I'm going to put a hospital. I'm going to put a hospital in my town, so I'm going to write that on my list. Hospital. You can either create your own list or you can just watch me make mine. That is up to you. Hospital. Another thing that I want in my town is a fire station. Because if there is a fire in my town, I want some firefighters to be able to come and put it out. Fire station. Okay. Something else in my town that I want is police station. Because if there's a problem, I want some police officers to come and help. Police station. What other community helpers do I want in my town? How about a library? Librarians are community helpers, because they can help us find books, and they let us use books for free. That's pretty cool. So we're going to have a library in my town. Also, a school. Teachers are community helpers. School, and what other community helpers do I want in my town? A bank. Let's do a bank. Because we need to get money sometimes to be able to buy things, right? A bank. Okay, also, what do we put in our cars to make them be able to drive? Gas, right? So, a gas station. We need a gas station in our town. Gas station. If you're making your own list, just spell things as best as you can. You You can just sound them out and write them down as best as you can. Gas station, what else do I want in my town? I want a grocery store because I want some place to be able to buy food. And I want a park. So we can have a playground to be able to go swing at and go on the slides. So I want a park in my town. I want a beach in my town. Beach. Remember, this is just an imaginary town, so you can put whatever you want in it. You can put a beach and mountains and an ocean and all sorts of stuff in your town if you want. That is up to you. You can get creative with it. So we have beach. I'm going to put a restaurant. I'm going to put a farm because we need some farmers to grow the food that we're going to eat. Farmers are community helpers too. So we have a farm and I'm going to do one more thing in my town, which is a landfill. Do you know what a landfill is? A landfill? That's where we take all of our trash and they take care of it for us. They make it clean and they put it away and stuff like that. So that's a landfill. So it's important to have a place to put our trash. So that is my town. I'll show you my list really quickly. That is my list of things to put in my town. So I just made that so I know what stuff I'm going to draw in my town. So now that I made my list, I am going to make my roads, okay? So grab your duct tape and grab your scissors if you want to. I'm going to hold my scissors with the point down because we should be careful with our scissors because they are sharp. And now I'm going to take my duct tape and as always, on these Build with Sarah times, you can get creative and use your own ideas and make the things however you want to, okay? So, you can put your roads wherever you want in your town. It is up to you. I'm gonna do mine a certain way, but you can totally get creative with yours, okay? All right, so I'm gonna put my roads all over the place. So I'm gonna do that because again, like we said before, duct tape is tricky. So here's my advice for using duct tape. I'm going to take off a big piece of duct tape first. Big piece like this big, okay? And then I'm going to hold this with my other hand because I don't want to put it down on the paper because it will get stuck to the paper as we saw before. And I'm going to tear it off up here. Yes. If you have a grown-up nearby, oh my goodness, it is very, very sticky. Tell you what, we're going to try it a different way. Because that is what happens sometimes. Sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes we try things and they just don't work, and that is okay. All right, I'm going to try it a different way because I have a different idea of how to use our duct tape because once again, it is very tricky. Let's do it like this. I'm going to put my tape on the side of my table, okay? It is not on top of my piece of paper. It is sticking on the table, okay? putting it on the table, and then I am rolling it out from there. So I get it like this long, you can see it, okay? And now I'm going to tear it or cut it from this length. And I am going to be careful not to tangle it up. Yes, this way works a lot better. All right, and now I'm going to lift it up off of the table, and look, I have a long piece of duct tape to be a road in my town. All right, there's my piece of duct tape. I'm going to choose where I want to put it for my road, and I'm just going to put it over here. If you get your duct tape stuck to your paper somewhere that you don't want it, it's okay. Take a breath, don't freak out. You can just smush it down on your paper, and then you can take another piece of duct tape and just like make some roads over top of that, okay? Just get creative and cover it up and it will be okay. Part of building and part of being creative is figuring out what to do when you make a mistake. Righty. So I made one little road, and now I'm going to do some more roads. So remember how we did it before? That's how we're going to do it again, because I think that way works best for our tricky, sticky duct tape. So I'm going to put my tape on the edge of my table. So I'm going to stick it to my table and then pull my duct tape back to make another long piece of duct tape, like this big. And I'm going to tear it off with my fingers or with my scissors, whichever one is easiest for you. When you're holding your duct tape, hold it by both ends. Don't just hold it by one end like this and just let it swing around, because then this end can get stuck on stuff and then it's just going to make a big mess. So hold it by both ends so that it's not going to get stuck on stuff where you don't want it to. So for this one, I am going to put it here. So you want some of your roads to be touching each other. Because if you think about it, in real life, roads touch each other, right? You think about at traffic lights and stuff, roads come together. They cross over and touch each other because cars need places to go from one road to the other. So make sure your roads touch each other on your map. I'm going to create another road with another piece of duct tape. Here's another big piece of tape. I'm holding it by both ends so that it doesn't get stuck on stuff. And I'm thinking of where I want to put it. I think I'm going to put it here. There, yeah. So you can get creative and think of where you want to put your roads. My advice to you is just to make sure that you leave some space in between your roads, because we need some space to be able to draw where our buildings are going to go. If you're just hopping on, hello, we are making town maps today. So grab a giant piece of paper and some duct tape, and right now we're creating roads for our town maps. Alright, I'm going to put a road over here because I don't have any roads over here yet. Right. You can see how this road kind of leads to nowhere, but that's okay. I could connect it to this one if I wanted to. I'm actually just gonna leave it like this because I'm thinking I could put like a farm here or something here, so you can get creative with that. I'm just gonna add one more road, I think somewhere over there because I don't have many roads over there yet. So again, I'm going to tape it down to my table. Pull it back. It is very loud. Pull it back and tear it off. Hold it by 2 hands. And I am going to put this road right here. All right, so I'm gonna hold up my town map for you to see it. So far, this is what it looks like when it just, if you can hear me, this is what it looks like when it just has the roads. Okie dokie. So now that we have our roads, we are going to draw lines on our roads. So again, here is our example mini town map. So you can see how we drew the lines on the roads to make it look more like a real life road. So to be able to draw on top of our duct tape, we're going to need a Sharpie. So make sure you are allowed to use a Sharpie. If you are not sure if you're allowed to use a Sharpie, ask a grown-up before you use a Sharpie, okay? So I'm going to carefully take the cap off of my Sharpie. And I'm going to be extra careful with Sharpie because those are permanent markers. So permanent markers means that if we would get it on clothes or the table or the furniture or the couch or anything, they're not going to come off. So we need to be extra careful with this. So I'm going to draw lines on my roads here. I'm just going to draw a dotted line. And I'll show you up close what that looks like. You see it? I'm drawing dotted lines. So on real life roads, the lines down the center of the roads are usually yellow, but a yellow marker would not really show up on our duct tape. So that is why I am using a black Sharpie to do my lines. So your lines should go down the center of your duct tape. Let me show it to you one more time. You can see what that looks like. And remember, we're being extra careful not to get our Sharpie on our clothes or the table or the floor or anything nearby. The fun part is that when we're all done, we're going to be able to take our matchbox cars and drive them on our roads. So that'll be super fun. We can have our matchbox cars go to all the different places that we drew on our town map. So as you're drawing your dotted lines on your roads, keep thinking more about the things you want to put in your town. Remember, this is your town, so you get to choose what stuff you want to put in it. You can get creative, because this is imagination. So I just finished putting lines on all of my roads. So let me hold it up for you to see. So that's what that looks like. So we're going to move on now. So if you're not quite finished putting lines on your roads, that's okay. I think you should just take a break from that and you can come back and finish it later, okay? So with your Sharpie, this is very important. Take your Sharpie cap and put it back on with me right now. Put it on nice and tightly. You can't forget to put it back on. So put your Sharpie cap back on and put it off to the side. Alrighty. Now that we have constructed our roads, we are finally going to get to make our buildings in our town, okay? So, again, here's my list of the buildings that I'm going to make in my town, but you can make whatever buildings that you want. So, the first thing that I'm going to draw in my town is a hospital. So, again, this is Community Helpers and Superheroes Week. So, some community helpers are nurses and doctors and child life specialists who work in hospitals to help people, so they're community helpers. So I'm going to draw a hospital in my town. I like to just draw my buildings with no ruler, but if you really like to use rulers and you like to have really extra straight lines, you can use a ruler to draw your buildings. So I'm going to draw mine with marker, and then I can color it in with crayon or colored pencil if I want to, but I'm just going to start with marker. So I'll pick where I want to put my hospital. This is so fun because I can choose where I want to put it. I think I'm going to put it down here. Alrighty. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick you guys up and move you closer so you can see as I'm drawing my buildings, because I know you're kind of far away. So let me pick you up and move you a little bit closer. Alrighty. Now you're closer. Okay. So now you can see better as I'm drawing my buildings. So I'm going to draw my hospital first. So to draw that, I'm going to do a big rectangle like this. And I'm going to put some doors in the front so that people can go inside. You know what? I wonder if I can turn you around, because right now you're seeing what I'm doing and it's upside down, but I wonder if I can turn it around the other way. Is that better? I think I'll try it like that. Alrighty, there we go. Okay, here's my hospital. I drew some doors. I'm going to draw some windows too. Lots of windows, because in hospitals there are lots of people staying there, so I'm going to have lots of different windows. And some hospitals have a red symbol on them that shows that they're a hospital, so I'm going to draw that on there. All right. So that is my hospital. I think I'm actually going to write the word hospital on it too. Up here at the top. Right, hospital. So you can just sound it out, but I'll also tell you the letters. It's H-O-S-P-I-T-A-L. Hospital. Okay, so there's my hospital. There's my hospital. So that was the first thing on my list. I'm gonna cross it off. Alrighty. Next thing that I'm going to draw is a fire station right next to my hospital. You can draw whatever buildings you want. You do not have to draw what I am drawing. I'm going to draw a fire station, and I'm going to start drawing things a little bit faster. So you can just work on yours while I'm working on mine. And you can also watch what I'm doing too. So this is my fire station. I'm going to write fire station. You can sound it out if you want to write words on your map. I'm going to make my fire station have big circle windows. And there's my fire station. And then I'm going to take my list and cross it off. And next I have a police station. I'm also going to put it on the same road. I'm going to make my police station building more tall and skinny. And I'll write police. And draw a bunch of windows. I would love to see pictures of your town maps. I think everyone's town is going to be unique. So there's my police station. And next I wanted to put a library in my town. At my house, it just started raining really hard. Okay. I think I'm gonna put my library over here. That looks like a good spot for a library. I'm gonna make my library building purple. And write library on it. So that's what my library looks like. And then I'll cross off library on my map. And I wanted a school in my town. So I'm gonna draw a school next. So in front of my school, I'm gonna draw a circle for the buses and the cars to drive in. I don't know if your school has a circle like that, but some schools do. So I'm gonna draw a circle. So that's where our buses and cars are gonna drive in. And then we'll draw our school back here. I'm gonna write school. And next to my school, I'm gonna put a flagpole because lots of schools have flagpoles. Draw a flagpole. So you can see how I'm adding little details into my drawing. You can add whatever little details in that you want. This project could take you a few hours if you wanted it to. It can take as long or as short as you want because you can add a bunch of details in. Put my flag for my school. So we have school done. I'm gonna draw a bank. And you can see how my town is slowly filling up. So it's gonna look really cool when we're all done and my town is all filled up. Alrighty, I'm gonna put my bank next to my library, so it's gonna go over here. I'm gonna make my bank a really tall building. And write bank on it. I always put windows on my buildings. And a roof. And a big green money sign. Can you see that? That's what my bank looks like. Alrighty. So we only have time to add a few more things. The next thing I'm going to add is a farm. Alrighty. It got super dark in here now because it started raining outside and all of the outdoor light went away because it got dark and rainy. Alrighty, farm time. I'm gonna put my farm over here in this area. Let me turn on my light and see if that helps. Does that help? I think that's better. Okay. Put my farm in here. So barns are usually red, right? So I'm going to make my barn red. I'm going to draw it upside down and see if I can do it. I'm going to draw a big silo next to it. That's my silo. And then some big barn doors. So barn doors usually have, oh, I heard some thunder. I think we're having a storm at my house. Barn doors usually have an X on them. So there's my barn. There's my barn. Okay, and then see, let me just show you an example of how you can add a bunch of details in if you want to. I can add a little fence here. And I can draw some little sheep inside of it. So like I said, this project can take you a few hours if you wanted it to. So there's my barn with my little tiny sheep. I'm gonna cross off barn on my list, or farm. And I wanna add a beach into my town because it's super fun to get to go to the beach. I'm gonna put a beach over here. We are almost out of time for today. So the beach is going to be the last thing that I make for today. That's okay because you can keep on building yours if you want to. Let me show you how I'm going to do this. So you can see, let me move you a little bit. So here's my road. Where is it? There we go. Okay, here's my road. So I'm gonna pretend that this road leads into a parking lot. So I'm gonna draw a rectangle, and that's gonna be my parking lot. And I'm gonna draw some parking spaces in it. See, this is what I mean by you can add a bunch of different details into your town. And it can take a long time if you want it to. So that's my parking lot with my parking spaces. And now I'm gonna draw my beach in there. So for my beach, I'm going to put my ocean. Ocean and a bunch of sand. So I'm going to do a bunch of yellow dots for my sand. And I'm going to draw some tiny, tiny green little plants like you'd see at the beach. See my tiny little plants. And I'm going to draw some umbrellas. For people to relax under to get some shade. Alrighty. The beach towel. Beach towels. Okay. So there's my beach. So I'll move ya back up here, and you can see a bit of my entire town. There it is. So this is my town. I am not the whole way done. I'm going to work on it a little bit more, and then I will post pictures of it. So I would love to see the pictures of your town too, to see what kind of stuff you put in it and where you put all of your buildings and how you made your roads and all of that kind of stuff. So please send us pictures. You can comment them on this video, or you can email them in to getyourplayonline@gmail.com. We would love to see them and see how you got creative on this week of Build with Sarah. So thank you so much for watching, and a big thank you going out to all of our community helpers, especially during this time of coronavirus or COVID-19. Just thank you for all that you're doing to help keep us all safe. So thank you for watching, and I hope you will join us again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. for another time of Build with Sarah. I'm Sarah, and thanks for watching. Thanks for getting creative with us. I hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye.